Join the charge. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, heck, we're even on TikTok. There's something for everyone here. We're excited to engage with you. We hope you'll join us moving forward.
Good morning. Happy Friday. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, Andrew. No complaints. How about you?
Everything is going all right. We're going to finally get a nice weekend here. No rain, so I'm excited about that. Get outside.
Well,
but we've got work to talk about right now. Yes. Yeah. Well, you know, when we get it, we're sending it your way. So
exactly. It's got to drift up over the mountains and fall on top of me.
You get a preview of your future to come.
Exactly.
Let's talk about a few things before we talk about other things. Let's talk about GasX, NG Energy. So it's been on the move. It's had a big month. I think it's up like 70% for the month. Mm-hmm. So it's finally starting to move. And I know, we've been patient with it and looking forward to it. But like all things, supply chain, COVID, events and actions and whatnot have caused most businesses to have to deal with a lot of issues, not only with hiring people and people wanting to work, but also with getting supplies and whatnot. And that was no different, especially when you're building, plants and you're building actual pipelines and everything, getting things done. There's lots of safety protocol, but they seem to be through all that. And they gave an update today, which is great. They're down using a new kind of, a dewatering capillary technology to get some of the water out of Istanbul 1. So that's going to take this kind of procedure and launching and getting ready to drill and go down will take about 10 days. I think they're going to spend about 10 days in that well. So where they're saying about end of November, that all that process should be done. They should have like gas volumetric responses. They should have the column of liquid in the tubing. They'll know the effectiveness of that technology, and they should have a bit of an idea of the capacity and potential of the gas production. So that's big news. That's great. Mm-hmm. They've also advanced discussions and conversations about selling the gas, and they can also transport it via truck, which is great. They're also getting all of their facilities and pipelines completed and getting all the permissions to do so. They think that should be another 3 weeks as well. So once again, end of November. This is great. And also, I think the final thing that they wanted to mention was that they have a signed agreement to tie in the Maria Conchita pipeline with TGI, which is Transportadora de Gas Internacional, and subsequent wells at Maria Conchita through their main pipeline. So lots of things happening. A good update. So we've got a bit of a timeline and yard line to kind of look at. So good news, and it's on the move. It's great. I wanted to spend a bit of time on that because it is a big pick for me. And the energy sector, especially gas, is looking good. And if they can get things, just going at this speed, I think we're going to see potential big things from them. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a nice release when you can kind of see them checking off multiple boxes, right? They've got a lot of stuff that they've been working on. They got a lot of things in the pipeline per se. But no, it's really encouraging, really strong. I'm mostly intrigued by the conversations that they're having to begin actually selling the gas through that Istanbul 1 pipeline. That's going to lead to some awesome revenue numbers, especially right now with the massive demand that there is for natural gas. So that's extremely encouraging, really great update, and I'm looking forward to seeing kind of how things charge ahead through November for them.
Well, and it is interesting, and we'll follow up with them to see where that went because they were locked. They had a premium anyway. So even like 8 months ago, before all of this energy issue, they had a much greater premium in Colombia for gas because the demand was so high. So it's going to be very interesting. I would assume that everyone is on board within the government as well as, we need to meet this demand. It's here and it's coming. It's a big deal. 50% of Colombia's energy comes from electric or but that's generated from natural gas. So very interesting, very good news. Lots to happen. If they can hit these check marks, and then we start to see some production, I think things are going to shift very rapidly. And of course, if we get some good results, I think that's going to be, it'll be hitting all those check marks that people wanted to see.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And tying it into the idea of sort of hitting check marks and continuing to see growth, we got a great little update as well from QU Media. So very exciting news from them. They've updated the revenue guidance again for the most recent quarter that ended to about 4.7 to 4.8 million. But on top of that, they also provided some details from their financial quarter 4, which is in June of this past year, just the way that the company set up and structured that as their 4th financial quarter. Really interesting takeaways from that would be that their cash on hand has gone to over $9 million. We know that that's going to be used to target new growth, new advertising, getting themselves set up with what we know they're talking about, looking at launching their own kind of channel app in India there as well. So that's very exciting. It's really just kind of a nice financial update to see where they're standing, that their revenue growth is up, their cash position is very strong. They've got a lot of incentives for businesses to launch their second channel coming out in January as well. So really exciting kind of just from a financial standpoint to look at and say this company is looking really strong as they move into 2022 and are going to be able to execute kind of all their plans that they had on the back burner for next year.
Yes, good. Yeah, and it's good to see them hitting those numbers. I know they spent a lot on shows, on getting new media out. And Jess has a great question here. He's asking about Chatterbox, wondering, maybe did they pay too much for Chatterbox? There's nothing in their news release about it. And he's mentioning there's a bit of concern with that. So you know what? We're going to put that down, and we're going to reach out to Kurt, and we're going to ask him about that. Maybe we can have him back on, and he can talk specifically about that. But we will reach out to him. And Jess, we will send you an email on that one, get you an answer. But, I think there's also, and you're saying and Jess is saying he doesn't expect a lot to happen until the next earnings, maybe even second quarter. I think you might have a point. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to happen in this short term. I think they have to look and address the amount of shares out. There needs to be that. They hinted at that, 7 months ago, 6 months ago, that they knew that was something that was a concern for some. And it's great because they were able to weather, a storm and a downturn, but that provided a lot, a lot of shares went out to keep that going. And now they're meeting the revenue, which is excellent. That's great news. And if it continues, and obviously not at this rate. I mean, they've had explosive growth, but if they can just build and build and build, it'll show with confidence that it's working and they're building the brand. And building brands costs a lot of money. But if they can find a way to make the valuation a bit more attractive, maybe have less shares out, who knows? But let's see what happens the next couple of months. And I definitely don't think Jess is wrong on the Q2. I think people will want to see that it isn't just a big spike and then a drop down. I don't think so. I think they're going to continue to grow. But let's find out for Jess for sure, and we'll reach out to Kurt and we'll get you an email as soon as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I'm glad you brought it up because it's something that we've talked about as well with it, especially with the share structure. It's an obvious when you look at the company, when you break it down there, that it's a glaring kind of, all right, how are they going to address this? But like I said before, I think still being confident that this team is very smart. This team has done this before, and they are going to have a plan in place to combat that.
Good. The other thing I kind of wanted to throw out there was we're in the midst, and it ties in. It's not because of Facebook. I mean, Facebook just changed their name to Meta, so
naturally we're copying them.
Yeah, so I thought we should change our name as well because we're basically the same size.
Yeah, same valuation.
No, and they wanted to reflect a shift in where they're going, and it's this metaverse idea. It's this AR, VR, virtual world, and they're definitely ahead of the curve on this one. And it's an interesting conversation because we've invested in a company, and I don't know when they're coming out, but they'll be IPOing in the near future, hopefully, that deals in this space. And it's a Silicon Valley one. It's very cool. They're with Magic Wand, and I think it's Microsoft partner. Very interesting. We're going to talk more about it, in the future here. But this whole metaverse and this kind of geospatial awareness thing, and it's going to be quite a market. So on that note, and that's great that Facebook's doing that. I'm not a big fan of Facebook. I mean, I think it's great for me to I use it like basically to reach to old friends I haven't talked to so much. And of course, we just post stuff for work on it.
Yeah.
So for work, that's about it. I don't use it obviously for any news or anything like that. But this Meta thing, let's see what that looks like. Interesting to say nothing else. But for us,
didn't they just call it Meta because they sell your metadata? I thought that was the simple correlation for the name.
They're finally kind of more in line with what they actually do.
Exactly.
It's almost nothing to do with social media and all about influence, all about propaganda, and all about gathering your data. That's pretty much the model. And if you had asked someone, 20 years ago, do you think that not only would you carry something around that listens to you, takes all your data, takes all of your information, records everything you say, and then gives it to someone else, the ultimate surveillance tool, and then also do it gladly online, give them all of your details about who and what you are and what you do, you'd think they're insane. But that's the world we live in. They've conditioned people very well.
It is,
but our name change is a little bit different. So, and we've kind of talked about it off and on. And every 6 months or a year, I would go, I don't know about the name because I like it. It's fun, but I definitely get mixed reactions from it. And the mixed reactions are mainly because they think it's too promotional. And it is. Let's be honest. Supercharged Stocks is pretty promotional. And those people that knew me would say, I get it. I know you, Andrew, and it's fun. It's a fun name. And, it's nice and whatnot. But those that don't know me and they go, oh God, he's from Vancouver. They don't know I worked at Merrill Lynch. They don't really know anything about the companies I've worked with. It might seem very aggressively promotional, which is not what we are. And that's kind of the exact opposite of what we are. I want to get people excited about companies, but not in the sense of a pump kind of thing or promotional, that type of idea. So we've taken that to heart and to find something a bit more that's in line with the fact that, the experience that I've had and you've had as well, not only in the last 4 years with the companies and the credibility and the wins we've had, but also just the whole career, having worked at RBC and Merrill Lynch and companies like that, and done some very interesting offshore work. So wanted to have something that's a bit more reflective of that. And I even told you, Austin, I remember being on a panel once with, it was a big panel in New York, and there was like people from McKinsey, like big heads at McKinsey and whatnot. And even they were very uncomfortable, to say the least. They thought that it was very smart and it was a great conversation, but they did not feel comfortable being on a panel with someone from Supercharged Stocks. They were kind of like, oh, this isn't great. And I get it, I get it. And it's nothing personal against me. They think I'm a nice guy. Obviously, I was more than capable to speak at it. But it's, once again, it's image. And it's one thing to be a bit more fun and bring some levity to something, but also at the same time, I have to be cognizant that it's very serious business. And especially, we talk about BlackRock a lot. They're saying there's going to be 1,000 billion-dollar companies, 1,000 unicorns are coming soon in this kind of clean green tech sector, and that means mining. So there's going to be a rush, and there's a definite requirement for all of these minerals to provide solutions. And those solutions, they're kind of open to nuclear, but that's still going to take a lot of convincing of the public. We like nuclear for obvious reasons. It's the cleanest and safest energy. But if you're telling people they can't do, fossil fuels, then you're talking electric, you're talking copper, you're talking lithium, you're talking all the batteries, and that's all mining as well. So just a reminder why we like this, why we're in this space, that even if there's a downturn, even if some of these ridiculously overvalued companies have a downturn, this is where they're telling you to look. I mean, it's not foresight. It's not a magic ball. I'm not predicting the future. I'm just relaying what the powers that be are saying they're putting their money towards. And maybe people don't like it. I mean, there's lots in ESG that's just god awful. I don't like it. You take all the political stuff, it's just nonsense. But there's so much good that can come from it. And if they're telling you that's where the money's going, then you have an opportunity to make some money as well. And that's that, I take them at their word. I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's good for us. I think it's a fitting time to kind of go through this little rebrand. We're going to do the name change. We're going to update a few things as well. We've got the website updated now as well that we're happy with. So it's a perfect time to kind of make that transition, I think, with a little bit of a neat rename, rebrand. We're going to have more details and more information coming out on that, but we obviously want people to be in the loop on what we're doing so they're not just confused all of a sudden. Wait, why are Andrew and Austin called something different now?
Yes. And like I joke, for weeks on end, I'll still be calling it Supercharged Stocks as well. So I'll be confusing everyone.
Yes, exactly.
Including you and annoying people because they're like, that's not what you're called anymore. But also along those changes, we also will have, I don't want to say guaranteed to it's Wednesday, but we have developments as well for Wednesday, hopefully a partnership that we have with a group that we've been talking to and working with for a long time. And that's going to be exciting. And we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great kind of, like I said, it's a good time for us to be able to pivot and do that name change and a little bit of a rebrand, as we kind of already hinted at before when we talked about the direction we want for these, the live shows every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, how they're going to be going as well. So a little bit of structural changes, a little bit of branding changes, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be you and I here kind of following these stories, providing these kind of updates and doing what we do best.
Yes, and we're also adding another day for me to yap and chat on Thursdays at 2, where I'll be pitching, talking about the market model mindset. I'm going to do that every Thursday at 2. So It's going to be live. It won't be a recording. And we're going to let people know, and you'll have to sign up. You can come on, ask questions. I'll sit on that thing for an hour if I have to. And we'll have a bit of a chat, and we're going to talk specifically about the market model mindset, how this all began, and that package and product that we put together, because it highlights and isolates what the strategy was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, how it's worked, why it's working, and it's the same one moving forward. So it gives people a chance to engage a bit more. They can, and it'll be a Zoom call too, so people can talk freely. We're not going to record it. They can ask questions. They don't have to be on screen. You turn the camera off, turn your sound on, and we can just have a conversation. And that's going to be very exciting too, because it's a bit more free flowing. Yeah.
Well, and it goes in and fits into the kind of idea that we have of like being able to build an actual engaged community on top of what we're doing as well. And like, that's why it's so great that we do get people like Jesse who are jumping in the chat all the time, asking great questions. It's so we want to be able to continue to build that up and have a really strong base of people that are involved on the course front, involved in our off YouTube shows, on our Friday shows specifically, and just engaging with us, chatting more about these companies and finding great opportunities.
Good, great. So lots of changes, lots going on, lots of IPOs coming out soon. We're through October, which tends to be a tough month. Let's see what November holds for us. But long term, listen, there's lots of opportunity, and we always kind of, there's days where I can get like really under the weather because there's lots of bad news out there and I have to read it. And it can become overwhelming, but I just have to move my sights a bit further forward and focus on the big prize. Nothing that we tend to value is attained easily. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go through a lot of challenges together. Let's do it. And we're going to come out the other end, and hopefully we're going to make some money.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great, exciting time ahead.
Excellent. Oh, one last thing. I did a video with Desert Mountain Energy yesterday morning. Hopefully it's coming out soon, maybe this weekend. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it was great to catch up with Robert. No spoiler, but this is long-term. I love this company. I'll just leave it at that.
It's hard not to love them long time. And we'll see. We'll get a good update from them. Hopefully we'll get that video out over the weekend here. And I know it was a great chat between you and Robert, so people are looking forward to that. But take care, Andrew. Try not to eat too much Halloween candy this weekend, and we'll chat to you on Monday.
Happy Halloween. Take care, everyone.
Cheers, guys.